Ella Majors, Sexy Fit Vegan. Welcome back to the Plant Trainers Podcast.
Oh, it's so good to be here with you guys. Thanks for having me.
No problem. We're super happy to have you. We were just talking about the weather, how cold it is up here in Toronto, how beautiful it is down there in Miami, and it was super fun hanging out with you this winter. I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
As am I. It is always so exciting to actually meet people in person. Like I sometimes forget that that's possible, like doing so much online these days. So, yeah.
Yeah. So what are you grateful for in the world today?
Honestly, I'm so grateful simply to have the opportunity to live another day. I mean, that's just how I've been feeling for quite a while now, but just how amazing it is to have this opportunity, to be able to wake up another day and to be in this body and to have another chance to experience life and to kind of treat it as an adventure.
And I think that's something that's easy to forget sometimes, or that people who have been in trauma or in really severe health situations think of things like that. But then when life kind of goes back to normal, you forget how wonderful it is to be alive, or how blessed you are to literally be able to zip up a sweatshirt or carry something. That's something that not everybody can do. So to have that gratitude every day is really empowering.
And it's super cold here and it's been really dark. The days have been short, but the good news is the days are getting longer. The sun is starting to pop back out and there's good things coming for everyone. So we all got to remember to look forward to what we do have and what we can appreciate in the moment.
Yes, well, you guys have that opportunity more than I do down here in Miami to have to really dig deep on that when the weather is cold or cloudy. And yeah, I have it pretty easy down here.
Well, that's good. We'll come visit you again soon, and we'll get it good down there too. And of course, in episode 444, which we found out was your alarm setting too, which is super cool. We talked about all things plant-based and fitness and how you found the plant-based lifestyle. So if anybody wants to know about that and how long you've been vegan, vegetarian, all those things, they could head back to that episode, but we'll skip over that part today. I know in terms of gratitude and enjoying every day, there's been some activity that you've been taking part in that really fills your cup. I want to hear a little bit more about that.
Yes, well, I have to kind of go back when we're talking about gratitude and talking about living life like an adventure. And it was about a year ago now, and I do want to tell you about what's exciting right now, but it kind of goes back to about a year ago when I had gotten to a place where I really felt like, yes, this is a game, this life is a game, and I felt like I didn't want to play it anymore. Like things got dark. I really hit burnout about close to a year ago. And from there, and I can be grateful for that too, because that's really what was the spark for so many experiences that I had since then that led me to the creation of this project and this community that I'm building now called 99 Thrive.
Yes. So it's really, I mean, and I know, and we want to get into the 99 Thrive, but there's a lot that led up to it, right? You had travel, sanctuary work, right? So tell us a little bit about your journey to get out of that burnout.
Yeah. So not only it was kind of like this perfect storm. I had just a creative kind of block. I had been going for so many years. As an entrepreneur, you guys know, I mean, it's can be exhausting. And I had gotten to a place where I was, well, let me just shift gears and from a group coaching program, maybe I can do a membership program and maybe that'll be the next path. And so I kept kind of shifting enough to kind of cover it up, the fact that I needed a break. And finally, it hit me along with a back issue, a bulging disc kind of situation where then my coping mechanism of exercise was taken away. I also had decided at that point, because I had been on this great spiritual path, that I was ready to navigate life without antidepressant medications, which I'd been on pretty much since I was 16 and was diagnosed with major depressive disorder as a teenager. So kind of all these things added up, and I really took a dive. I took a nosedive down into depression, anxiety, burnout, and decided that I needed something very major to shift my energy and to get out of that place. And I had decided that a 12-day ayahuasca retreat was on my path, was what I needed. And I had heard Gabor Mate talk about a place called the Temple of the Way of Light, which I am, I want to share that because I believe that doing something like that, it was 6 ceremonies over 11 nights. It's really important. It's not for everybody. And it's really important that you pick a place that has it down, that is authentic, that has a very experienced staff, the shaman, the facilitators, the process, that they really have that down, so that you can get what you need out of it. And I'm so grateful, because it was really, it really was a transformational 12 days. And leading up to that, I took a month off of social media. I did a whole digital detox, along with what they call a dieta, which is no salt, no oil, no sugar, no caffeine, no medications, no cannabis, which I had been using medically to help with insomnia. You really I cleared out my system, and that's what they really recommend. And I followed that, went down to the Amazon of Peru, and it was wild. It was an intense and wild ride. And when I got back, I learned that really that wasn't where the work was. The work was when you get back home and go through this integration process, which was harrowing, because 2 weeks after returning home, not only did my grandmother pass, which is, she was 100 years old. She lived a very full, beautiful, happy life. But my cat, my beloved cat, Bob, tragically died of, it was an accident that occurred. That was, wow, that took me on whole nother tailspin, 2 weeks after returning from this journey. So all of this was, it took a lot. It took a lot. And what I learned, one of the major things I learned, was that it wasn't about feeling better. It was about getting better at feeling. And that helped me so much following Bob's death, when I just sat in that pain instead of trying to hide and run and numb myself from those intense grieving feelings that I was experiencing. And it felt unbearable. It really felt unbearable. Bob represented so much peace for me. He was such an amazing soul, and he taught me so much. And losing him was quite a hit. But I really, looking back, look at how I dealt with that. And it was a whole different way of being, that I was able to experience that loss in a whole different way. And instead of hiding it and bringing it in and doing it myself, I reached out for help for the first time. And I got so much amazing support and guidance from amazing, amazing people. So all of that was important in this journey. It was really powerful.
And I think that kind of takes on the saying of, life's not happening to me, it's happening for me, right? And what lessons can you learn from this? And would you have been able to reach out and ask for help had, the passing of Bob happened before the trip to Peru? And then you got a chance to practice what you've learned and heal from it, and see the support and the love through it. So all of these things that are happening in our lives are stepping stones to making us bigger people.
Exactly. I think, you hit the nail on the head with that. And I know you've been through your own, journey, and the other piece of this was this, I'm an extreme introvert, right? And it's been this lifelong weird dynamic of feeling really called to be a leader and to, get my voice out there and get my message out there of compassion for all living beings. And, that's kind of the underlying reason I do everything I do is for the animals. And so there's this calling there. And at the same time, I'm very, kind of shy, and I'm an introvert, and I need lots of time to myself to recharge. And yet here I am, launching a third podcast, and like, what am I doing to myself, trying to figure that out, and getting to this place of just approaching life with so much curiosity. And I think that's what last year really taught me, is if we can stay in this state of profound curiosity about everything, about ourselves, about the world around us, about other people, and then to cultivate deep connections with other people, which is something that I've always kind of struggled with until this retreat brought me and 19 other people together on this healing journey where we sat around and shared the most intimate and vulnerable details of our lives and our thoughts and our feelings and our experiences. And we're able to connect on such a deep level. And that was a huge influence for me in coming back and saying, okay, where do I want to go with my career? And what do I want to create? And it's not a product. It's not just, digital content. It's really about deep connections and creating a community that can feel kind of like a sanctuary for humans, as we've created with Hogs and Kisses, a sanctuary for animals.
So tell us a little bit more about it. I know we've talked at length about it, and I'm super intrigued by it. And I think that it's an incredible idea, and really bringing together, like you say, bringing community and interactive experience, but with like-minded people, right? With plant-based, vegan-minded people as well. So tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so it's a place where people are coming together, a community of people that are wanting to move through life with profound curiosity, with fierce compassion, with deep connection. So bringing together people that are wanting to learn and get guidance and support, as well as experts like yourselves that are ready to also connect with other experts and people in the community that are really open-minded and wanting to learn and explore topics that not only around holistic health and well-being, but also on impact and making a positive impact on the world. So it's around the community. It's also launching with our new podcast called Rise and Thrive with me, Ella Majors. And we'll be recording those episodes live in the community so people can actually interact with our guests and ask questions and get answers on that. So we're creating the community where we're engaging, we're creating content and masterclasses and doing challenges where we get to do it all together live. And I think, one of the pieces of this is I've been listening. I mean, I'm a huge podcast listener for years, and I'll listen, right? And there's so many masterclasses and workshops and all these things out there. So there's so much knowledge that I think people already have and have access to. So it's not as much about the knowledge, but it's about getting the support and guidance to apply that knowledge to our lives, to be able to actually use that knowledge to make shifts in the way we think, the way we act, to really align ourselves and create a sense of harmony between what we believe and who we are and how we move through the world.
I think you're right. There's a lot of people that have access to the knowledge, to the education, who already have it, possess it, but don't necessarily know how to apply it, or don't have the resources to actually figure out how to apply it. So it sounds pretty interesting.
Thanks. Yeah, that's the idea.
And I think another part of it is being able to break it down and talk about it, and not in a situation where you're constantly trying to convince people, to listen to the research or listen to your way or what it is. But when you might be on the same path, but have a different way of looking at it, and being able to communicate and talk about it helps it sink in deeper, and helps you see different ways, and helps you become a more empathetic person in many different ways too. So having that ability to not, having that ability to listen to the podcast live, but then have that conversation with the guest or with other listeners too, that really changes things, because we've said so many times it can be very lonely on this side of the microphone at times, but like imagine doing your podcast in front of a live, not studio audience, right? Like that's super cool.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's, again, that connection and that ability to approach things from all different angles, and to be able to ask questions and be in a safe container where you can ask those questions without fear of being judged, or, being ridiculed, or, this is a space where we get to ask questions, and we get to all contribute our input, and not have to worry about, being judged or ridiculed.
So we got into this because you started talking about how you went through this burnout phase.
Mm-hmm.
And this product, is it only for people that are burning out, or it's for anybody, or who's it really directed towards?
Yeah, so it's really for people that are kind of at that place where they have a lot of knowledge already around all things holistic health. And for me, holistic health means, yes, the physical health. That's a huge component, right? We've got to take care of these bodies that we're in. They're all we have. But also on the mental and emotional health side of things, also on the spiritual growth and discovery. I love getting to that place where you realize that you don't know what you don't know, and that there's so many blind spots. And if we can open our minds and open our hearts and discover our blind spots, the things we don't know, that's when life becomes really exciting. At least to me, that's when it becomes an adventure. That's when we get to play it like a game, and riding the waves of what happens when we do burn out, but not needing to get to that point. Like, we don't need to get to that point. Sometimes we do, and I did. But if I can contribute to help people not get to that place, catch it before you get to that place, and gain those tools and start practicing those tools. And, everything from morning rituals and evening rituals, how we get better sleep, all the things that you guys have on this podcast, but then actually having some accountability and some systems in place to put it into practice on a daily basis.
And I think that's huge. And, when people, I'll take you as an example. If people look at you and your photos and your body and your mind, like, you've got to have a really powerful mindset to make your body look the way your body does, right? But even the healthiest looking people, if they're not careful, will end up in burnout, and burnout can lead to many other diseases within the body as well. So it's really important to pay attention to our bodies now, more than ever.
1,000%. And my body with my emotion, everything's so connected, right? And so when my emotions started breaking down, my body was breaking down at the same time. And it was a year of really getting myself back on track through intense method, like, not everyone needs to go to the Amazon jungle and vomit for 7 hours
Maybe they
straight.
should, but
I'm so grateful that was the path that called me, because it was the catalyst for so much. And actually, psychedelics as a healing modality, as a tool for me has been really, really instrumental in my own journey. And I know it has for a lot of people, and it's becoming much more widely accepted and researched. So that's an area of interest, and these are all areas that we get to explore together inside of 99 Thrive. It's like, what's right for one person. This is not about telling you what's right for you. It's about opening the doors to all sorts of possibilities and exploring those possibilities and discovering which ones might be something that you want to try, and then trying and getting support around it.
And I think going back to what you said at the very beginning, making sure that if this is a path that you choose, that it's the right person, it's a trusted person, it's, trusted. Everything needs to be trusted and clean there. It's not something that we've ever done or experienced, but I would just say to people, make sure you know what you're doing and who you're doing it with is really important.
Yes, make sure there's a disclaimer
Yeah.
on this episode.
All right. So a little bit of more concrete questions. Where does the name 99 Thrive come from?
Yes. So interestingly, originally it was the thought of living to 99 years and longer. Well, that was before I kind of went through my whole transformation, which continued on all of 2022. I mean, I got back from that retreat in June, and the ride that I went on for many months after that was quite intense. I mean, of like, I don't know, I released my old ego, I like lost my identity, and then I gained it back. And then it was this whole exploration process that we don't have time to go into. But in doing so, it really, for me, what resonated was not so much the longevity piece of how long can I live, but the quality of the life that I do live, right? So it wasn't about the years. So 99 is also a number that signifies and represents new beginnings, kind of the closing of one chapter and the starting of another, of allowing the universe to lead us to our truth. So it's got kind of a spiritual meaning of beginning a new chapter and of self-discovery and new beginnings.
Wonderful. Great. That's really interesting. I'm gonna look more into the 99. I know we lived in Hong Kong for a while, so it was the eights were really significant there.
Yeah.
And so my next question is, if somebody wants to, I know that when we're releasing this, you're open for business, you're ready to go. I know that I'm a contributor within the community. So how would people join, or what would they do if they were interested in looking into joining the community?
Yes, so 99thrive.com. 99 is the numbers, 99thrive.com. I'm sure you'll put the link in the show notes. There's more information on my website, ellamajors.com as well. But 99 Thrive will get you directly to the information on the community as well as the podcast.
Of course, we'll link to it in the show notes.
Of
We always
course.
do.
Spoken like a true podcaster.
Yes.
Yeah, it'll be at planttrainers.com/463, I believe it'll be. Cool.
Perfect. Well, and then everybody can check you out on Instagram as well, right?
That is correct. That is still at Sexy Fit Vegan, although I did just get at Ella Majors. We'll be building that up as well.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for spreading the message of just being yourself and finding your path and being proactive and not getting to that point of burnout. And I know that what you've been doing over the last year has not been easy and has been a lot of work, but it's going to be so worth it when we see all of those pieces come together in 99 Thrive and just amazing, amazing contributors. So I'm really, really blessed and grateful to be a part of it, because I know how much I will learn from so many other people in that community, including yourself as well.
I appreciate you both so much and so excited to have you part of 99 Thrive as well.